Most people join the military without doing the math. They look at the paycheck, the uniform, the commercials, and they think, I just need a way out. But what they do not realize is that joining the military is one of the biggest financial decisions of their life. And most people walk in blind. They do not realize that a few simple numbers, your job, your duty status, your dependence, your location can be the difference between struggling for 4 years or setting yourself up for life. This is the math nobody does before joining the military. On this channel, I show you how 3 years can buy you a lifetime bag. So, subscribe. Let us break this down the way no recruiter ever will. Because recruiters are not financial advisors. Their job is to get you in, not to teach you the long-term plays that will make you rich later. I'm not here to bash recruiters. They do the job, but you need to do yours. And that means learning the math before you sign anything. Because once you sign, that paper runs your life. First piece of math most people ignore is the base pay versus real pay. When you see the pay chart online, you might think, oh, E1 makes 1,900 a month, E2 makes 2,100, and you think that is your income. But that is not the full picture. That is only your base pay. What most people never factor in is allowance, BAH, BAS, medical tax breaks, and long-term VA compensation. When you add that up, your real pay is often double or even triple your base pay. Let me show you what I mean. A single soldier might make 2,000 base pay a month, but if you have dependents, you can get an additional 2,500 to 3,000 a month in housing allowance depending on your state. Then you get a food allowance around 450 a month. You also get free medical care, which if you were a civilian will easily cost another 500 to 1,000 a month. Add it all up, that is about $5,000 to $6,000 worth of value every month, even as a new soldier. But if you do not understand the math, you will only look at your paycheck and say, the military does not pay much. You will see 2,000 in your account and think that is your worth, while ignoring all the free value that is stacking quietly behind the scenes. That is why I tell people, the military is not broke. People are just uneducated about how to count their money. They only see what hits the checking account, not what they are saving by having zero rent, zero health bills, zero tuition cost. That is a mistake number one. The second mistake is joining the wrong branch or status for your situation. Let us talk numbers again, because numbers don't lie. If you are doing nothing in the civilian world, no real income, no career, no clear direction, then active duty is the smartest financial move because you get consistent pay, free housing, medical, and training that leads you to long-term benefits. You can go from nothing to stability in one signature. But if you already have a career or a business making good money, then going reserve or National Guard might make more sense in your case. Because in that case, the math of keeping your civilian income plus stacking military benefits on top gives you more freedom. Most people never run that calculation. They just pick whatever the recruiter suggests. But the truth is, active and reserve are two completely different math equations. Active duty is full-time income. Reserve is your side hustle with long-term benefits. The question is, which one gives you the better return on investment based on your situation right now? That is the math nobody does. The third piece of math that gets ignored is job selection. The MOS you pick is not just a title, it is a financial decision. Yes, because not all jobs are created equal. Some come with bonuses, some qualify for special pay, some get security clearances that make you 6 figures later. Others lead nowhere at all. Let me give you an example. You might be offered 2 jobs. One is infantry, no clearance, no special pay, and very limited civilian crossover. The other is intelligence analyst, comes with a security clearance, technical training, and the ability to transition into a federal or IT career later. Both might pay about the same while you are in the military, but once you get out, that clearance alone can make a 50K difference in your civilian paycheck. That is not an exaggeration. Companies pay huge money to hire clear veterans. That clearance is literally a golden ticket. Yet, most people ignore it. They pick a job that sounds cool in the recruiter office without realizing they just gave up tens of thousands of dollars later. That is why I say, if you are about to join, do not pick your job emotionally. Pick it strategically. You do not have to love the job forever. You just sign one contract and you can leave later. You just need to pick one that pays you later. If the military is a stepping stone, then your MOS is the direction of that stone. Step smart. Now, let us talk about dependence, because this one changes the numbers completely. If you are single, you get basic pay and food allowance. That's it. If you have a dependent, a spouse, a child, or a parent in some case, you get BAH, which, depending on where they live, can be $2,500 to $4,000 a month. That is not pocket change because multiplied by 12. That is real money that adds up over the month of training and beyond. Let me give you an example. A soldier named Jason joined right after high school. He had a girlfriend for years. They planned to get married after he finished his military training, but nobody told him that if he had gotten married before shipping out, he would have been getting BAH the entire time. His basic training plus AIT took 10 months in total. The BAH rate for his area would have been around $2,800 a month. He missed out on $28K, money that could have paid off his car, covered his wife's bills, or gone into savings. Now, imagine doing that kind of math before joining. You will not just prepare emotionally, you will prepare strategically. And for anyone wondering if it is shady, it is not. BAH is literally built for that. It is meant to support your dependents while you are away. The military does not ask for receipts or proof of how you spend the money. They assume you are providing. That is not a loophole. That is how the system is designed. But if you do not know that, you lose. You have to know how to claim it. That is another reason I created my school community, to teach this play before people even join, because people don't realize it. But when you tell them, they are surprised, because every month I meet people who say, I wish I knew this earlier. They are already in, they already signed, and now they are realizing the mistakes that cost them thousands of dollars. If they had just invested $44 before joining, they would have known exactly how to set everything up, the right contract, the right branch, the right dependents, the right job. That $44 would have turned into tens of thousands in value. Let me show you the return on investment math again, because this is where mindset separates the broke from the free. Most people see $44 and think that is expensive, but they do not think about return. If you join blind, you might waste $20K in missed pay or miss $50,000 in post-service income because you chose a job without a clearance. But if one conversation, one lesson, one video helps you avoid that, or once you talk to me, then your return on investment is massive. That is how smart people think. You do not look at what you spent, you look at what you gained. That is what I teach inside. Real maths, real numbers, because numbers don't lie. No fluff, because the military is a business and you are the product unless you learn to use it strategically. Let me show you another layer of math nobody talks about. Time. When you join, time is your biggest currency. 4 years might sound short, but how you spend those 4 years determines whether you work out with freedom or frustration. If you spend those years coasting, doing the bare minimum, you will leave the same person you came in, just older. But if you use that time to take advantage of every benefit, tuition assistance, skill training, certifications, you can work out with a degree, a clearance, and a guaranteed income for life. That's what I did. That is time leverage. That is how wealth is built. When I joined, I did not know all of this. I learned the hard way. But once I understood the math, everything changed. I realized that the military was not just a job. It was a system designed for people who know how to play it. It rewards planning. It rewards knowledge. It rewards people who understand numbers. That is why I tell people, stop letting emotion run your decisions. Run the numbers. Ask yourself, if I join this way, what does it pay me now? What does it pay me later? What do I lose if I do not plan? Do that before you sign anything. Let us talk about one more number most people forget, the VA. When you save, your body pays a price. Maybe it is your back, your knees, your hearing, your sleep. The VA compensates you for that. That's free for life. That means when you leave the military, you can get anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s every single month for the rest of your life. I get actually right now $4,544 every month. That's free for life. That money does not stop. That is because I learned how to document everything while I was still in. Most people do not. I need to show you how to. They rush through separation, skip the medical evaluations, and walk away with nothing. That is another example of math. The math of knowing that if you do things right while you are in, you can walk away with lifetime paychecks. If you do it wrong, you live broke. Again, $44 to learn this before joining versus $4,544 a month for life. Do the math. Which one makes sense? You already know. Now, let us add one more angle, opportunity cost. Every month you delay learning this information, you are losing money. You might join without preparation, make mistakes, and then realize later that you could have been earning more, saving more, and planning smarter. The sooner you learn, the faster you grow. That is why I always say, you are not paying $44 to me. You are investing $44 in your future self, because your future self will thank you when you are collecting checks while others are complaining. Your future self will thank you when you are buying your first home, living free, and realizing that you played the game right. Let me share you a quick story. A young guy named David reached out to me before joining. He was debating between active duty and reserve. He was working 2 part-time jobs, making around $2,500 a month. He thought the military will pay less. I broke down the math for him. I showed him how active duty will pay him about 2,000 days plus 2,800 BAH since his wife lived in California, plus 450 for food plus medical and tax-free housing. That added up to almost 5,500 in value every month, more than double what he was making working 2 jobs and breaking his back. He joined active duty, got his training paid for, saved money during his AIT, and now he's stacking benefits that will pay him for years. That is how math changes your life. Not motivation, not hype, math. And I want you to think the same way. Before you join, sit down and do the numbers. What will your base pay be? What is your BAH rate? What benefits come with your job? What long-term value will your MOS give you? What does the VA pay for your injuries? Add it all up. Then ask yourself, what if I knew all this before signing? How much more could I make? That is why I built my military school community, because this kind of knowledge should not be secret. It should be shared, but the military does not teach it. Recruiters do not explain it. You have to learn it from someone who has done it, someone who has lived it. I went from being broke, not knowing English, to building a 6-figure IT career and collecting $4,500 a month from the VA. I did it by learning the math, and now I teach others how to do the same. And if you are watching this right now, you are already ahead of 90% of people who will sign the contract this year, because you are learning before you leap, and that alone can change everything. If you want to learn the math before you join, the real numbers, the real strategies, the real plays, the link to my school community is in the description below. That is where I break everything down step by step. How to choose your branch, your job, your secrets, your benefits, and your long-term plan. $44 is not a cost. It is an investment in knowledge that pays for itself the first time you make the right move. Do not think small. Think smart and long-term. Do not think about what you lose. Think about what you gain. That is the math nobody does before joining the military. Drop a comment if you have any questions and I will answer them. Watch this video on the screen that YouTube think will be helpful to you next. If this video that you're watching right now is helpful, subscribe for more play that turns service into freedom. Thank you for watching till the end. Peace. I'm gone.